And race 3 nearly always provides us with some extra fun and games, Tim, because the reverse grid will have its effect. Dave Newsham, though, starting up front, I wouldn't bet against him, you know. He's been going great guns this weekend.
Well, you've got 3 people at the front really keen to do something. Dave Newsham, his first pole, obviously. Matt Jackson, who's won 3 races already from a reverse grid and has shown good pace. And Paul O'Neill, who's really loving this weekend and is in his best grid position to take advantage of those two.
Yeah, it's going to be fantastic fun, and with this being the final race today, you can bet they're going to go for it. They're going to try and find some new positions to overtake.
Yeah, and the one man, of course, who scored nothing this weekend was former championship leader Matt Neal. Starting near the back, he's going to be on a charge.
Fantastic. Well, let's see how this is all going to go then, and take a look at how they line up. It is Dave Newsham on pole position then in the Seat. Let's see what he can do, but he's got Matt Jackson alongside, Paul O'Neill and Alex McDowell on the second row, and Jason Plato in his Silverline Chevy on row 3 with James Nash, who's also been having a good weekend. Gordon Shedden, winner earlier on, he's alongside Tom Onslow Cole, Andrew Jordan and Rob Collard coming from row 5, then Nick Foster and Tom Chilton. Behind them we've got Tony Gillam and Liam Griffin, Lee Wood and Jeff Smith, Matt Neal having to come all the way from 17th on the grid, Dan Welsh in the Proton is alongside him, and then it's Tony Hughes and John George, Andy Neaton and Martin Byford, Rob Austin in the Audi towards the back, as is Chris James, and indeed also having to do a little bit of work from further down than hoped for was Frank Rathwell after his problems earlier. We saw him there lined up on the grid, but Andy Neaton having to start from pit lane by the looks of it, so problems there for Andy. He's not have a particularly good weekend either in his third Aeon Ford, but hopefully they will get him out to join from the pit lane and get onto the back of the field. So being led around at the moment by Dave Newsham. Another one who's not really had the sort of weekend that we've perhaps come to expect this year at least is Andrew Jordan, driving the Pertec car. He's starting from the inside of the 5th row. There's Andy. Let's see if we can grab a quick word with him. Andy, it's Ben, you haven't really quite had the weekend that you might have hoped for so far, but perhaps you can improve on things in this one.
Yeah, you could say that, mate. It's been a bit of a day to forget so far, and yesterday didn't go according to plan. Been struggling with the handling and straight line speed compared to the other Vectras. We've got a bit of an issue as well, so we've done everything we can to try and find it, and we've not quite found it yet. So just damage limitation, try and score as many points as we can and stay out of trouble, but not been the weekend we wanted at all.
We're just watching from your foot cam at the moment, so we can see you when you're on the brake and the throttle. That's an interesting view for us. Yeah, thank you. Nice little dance.
I've actually got my dancing shoes on, as you can see, these flash white ones. They're not being very fast for me today, though, so we'll see what we can do in this one.
OK, have a good one. So, an interesting view there, Tim, from in behind the pedals.
Yes, I think a place on Strictly awaits Andrew Jordan for sure.
Well, it worked for Helio Castro Neves in the States.
Exactly, multi-talented, these racing drivers. But yeah, a little bit of frustration there. Obviously, he's seen the 888 Vectra of James Nash have a good second place. So clearly there's something missing from the Pertec Vectra this weekend.
So you can see him hard on the brakes and then back on the throttle again as they all just build up that gradual heat in the tyres that they're looking for going into the first lap. Look at the dip on the nose as they brake hard. Saw James Nash do that a second ago. And everyone now getting more and more used to this new layout, of course, and I do think that we might see a little bit more risk taken in race 3. That's often the case. And Newsham just bringing the field up to the line. Nice position for him to be in, of course. First time that he started a British touring car race from pole. There's the team, and they're all looking pretty excited too.
Yeah, special tuning, really enthusiastic bunch. I think it's good for the team to have 2 drivers as well, because when you've got all your eggs in one basket and you have a bit of bad luck, you've got no one else to rely on. And you know, I think Dave Newsham and Tom Boardman have been a really good pairing.
Yeah, definitely. Tom has had a bit of a rough weekend, hasn't he? But hopefully Dave Newsham's going to be able to make up for that in this race. But can he take a victory? That's a question. Of course, still in his first season. Matt Neal, though, coming from a long way back because he's back on row number 9. And there you are. That's the onboard view with Matt. We heard how dejected he was after that second race when he picked up a slow puncture. He's now found himself in 3rd place in the championship. He's lost that title lead. It's Gordon Shedden, his teammate, who now leads the championship. All the cars then just moving into position, and that's, well, I say that, of course, Andy Neat's car still being worked on in pit lane. Interesting what they're fiddling around with there.
Yeah, usually anything like that is just a roll bar adjustment. It's about all you can do underneath. Whether somebody realised they hadn't done it up or it wasn't in the right setting for what they want to do for this race, but yeah, clearly they decided just to use the time at the end of the pit lane for the last little bits of work.
The final race of the day here at Snetterton, due to get underway then, round 18 of the championship, and it has stayed dry all day, so we're looking at some good hard racing to complete the action. Away we go then, Newsham off the line, Matt Jackson makes a good start from the outside of the front row, then you've got the Chevy and Paul O'Neill, and then the two Silverline cars of McDowell and Plato heading up towards Riches, but Newsham does it. He gets into the first corner ahead, O'Neill gets ahead of the two Silverline cars, Gillum is making up the place there by the looks of things, and Matt Neal trying to nip through. Oh no, that's Liam Griffin in the other, Airwaves forward, he might smooth the barrier on the inside. Up front, Dave Newsham is leading with Jackson in second, O'Neill in third, but it's gone wrong for Liam Griffin very early.
Yeah, great starts for Dave Newsham and Matt Jackson, both got away cleanly and were able to take a normal racing line into the first corner. But so the front three as they started.
So Newsham it is who leads in the Seat, with Matt Jackson still tucked in behind. Look at a little bit of an opportunity down the inside into Agostini. That's Nash. No, it's Jordan. Sorry, Jordan trying to squeeze past Collard and trying to get the move done. He might have the inside line for the next, but he's being squeezed into Hamilton. Side by side through there. They hit! Around goes Jordan. Collard loses time as well. What a shame, but contact made through the left-hander.
Yeah, that's a corner where we haven't seen any action so far today. It really is strictly a one car through there at a time, and I think they both thought they'd brave it out and the other would give in, and of course neither of them did.
No, well, they weren't going to give up that easily. There is Nash, he's tucked in behind McDowell, so it's Newsham from Jackson, then O'Neill and Plato, McDowell from James Nash, and James Nash has got Gordon Shedden behind him, so first lap from Shedden hasn't really made up much place. Nash hopping over that curb. He told me to do that when I drove his car yesterday, actually, and I said, no way am I going to try that, but he obviously likes that line.
Yeah, he likes the line, but he shouldn't really be using it this early in the race when the tyres are still not up to full pressure. We saw a puncture to Matt Neal in the last race, and it's a risky policy.
Yeah, well, Newsham doing a great first lap here. Look at that, he's opened up 2 or 3 car lengths over Matt Jackson in second place. I tell you what, he's going to be tough to beat off this first lap. Let's take another look at the start of the race here. This is on board Matt Neal.
Yeah, really good start. Just the right balance of throttle and clutch to get the car driving away neatly. He goes off the line really well, looks down the inside. Look back in your left and you'll see Liam Griffin just get sideways. Coming into shot there, he's already sideways. Difficult to tell if there was contact there from the rear. Might well have been, but that's the end of his day.
Byford ended up on the grass on the other side, but I think he's still running. And oh, it's a change! Yeah, Matt Jackson has taken the lead. Jackson ahead of Newsham. O'Neill is still in third place. Then it's Plato bearing down on them. The winner of the first race of the day, Jason Plato, chased by Alex McDowell behind. So Newsham seemed to have a little bit of a margin, but somewhere along the line, whether he's made a mistake or what, Jackson has now taken over. So is he heading for yet another race 3 victory this year and continue his championship chase? Perhaps not in the typical style of qualifying up front and winning the early races, but you've got to win whatever you can, and Jackson on target, but behind O'Neill, using so much curb, cutting that Williams corner onto the Bentley straight with Plato bearing down on him.
Yeah, half the car across the inside of the track there for Paul O'Neill, but we'll hopefully get a replay of how the lead changed. Maybe it was at the Montreal hairpin, maybe it was coming out before Palmer's.
Yeah, well, Newsham just dropping back a little bit now from Matt Jackson. He'll love this because Newsham and then the Chevrolets might give Jackson a chance to make a bit of a break here as they come into Coram. Now, of course, a corner that keeps on tightening. They've got to balance, slow it all down, anchor up a little bit, down through the gears here and into the left-hander at Murray's. A little bit of typical smoke off the right rear tyre under braking, and actually Newsham's had a really good exit there, putting Jackson under pressure.
Yeah, very neat and tidy through that corner. Initially came out a bit quicker. The Ford now you can see is slightly quicker, just ever so slightly quicker on the straight. Both these cars running without any ballast, so a genuine comparison of engine performance. The Ford engine prepared by Dave Mountune, so you know, that's clearly producing the power.
Yeah, a little bit of a lock-up into Montreal, and behind, O'Neill has got a chance of getting alongside Newsham here, but I don't think he'll be correctly placed for the next corner, although he might cut back to the inside, looks about, and thinks about it, but Newsham's got too much for him, so again he has to slot back into place. Mind you, Paul O'Neill currently sitting in third place. He'd take a podium, I'm sure, if he could hold on to it, with Plato behind, and McDowell, followed by James Nash, Gordon Shedd, Onslow Cole is 8th, Gillam is in an excellent 9th, by the way. Tony Gillam, good effort from him in the opening lap here. He's 9th, and Matt Neal is in 10th. Oh, yeah, look at this.
Shedden and Nash side by side, and it'll be almost a repeat of the Jordan incident, but Shedden gets through cleanly. Nash gives him space, someone off in front wide. Yeah, that would have been one of the two Chevys, but that time they got through neatly.
Tom Onslow Cole in car number 4, tucked in behind. And by the way, Matt Neal, I think in the background, got past Tony Gillam. So Matt Neal's got up to 9th place now, coming from row number 9, having to fight his way through the order as much as possible. Is Matt Jackson, who leads this race, looking to try and score maximum points once again here. Chased hard by Newsham, then O'Neill, the two Chevrolets, then Shedd and Nash, and Onslow Cole. There is Matt Neal ahead of Tony Gillam, and Gillam is having to protect pretty feistily from Nick Foster and Rob Collard. The two BMWs are ganging up on him here.
Yeah, they certainly are, and but Gillam is a real fighter, literally on and off the circuit, so he won't give an inch. But yeah, the BMWs running in tandem. Still be disappointed, I think, with their weekend, but Knockhill could be better for them.
It's nice to see Gillam running well again. He had some good races in the early part of the year. He's been out of luck today. A couple of incidents, got involved in somebody else's incident earlier today. So he'll be pleased with this. Austin with a bit of damage to the front of the Audi, but he's running in 14th place. 15th currently is Lee Wood, and 16th position for Jeff Smith. But up across the line they come. Gillam having to defend quite hard here from Foster, as Jackson continues to lead this race from Newsham and O'Neill. O'Neill again trying to size him up on the entrance to Montreal. There's no way through, gets a good exit, but he can't do anything with it.
No, it's Newsham's car seems to really struggle on the hairpins, can't get around tightly enough, but there's such a short distance between. Oh, it's very close now. Will Paul O'Neill send it up the inside into the Agostini hairpin? He maybe isn't close enough. Not this lap.
Not this lap, no.
But clearly the hairpins are where Dave Newsham is struggling a little bit against the lighter, more agile Chevrolets.
Yeah, so that's what O'Neill's got to think about. In the background you can see Shedden still ahead of James Nash. Nash not going quite as well in this race as he did in race 2. O'Neill runs a bit wide. Got to be careful there, because otherwise Plato will be through in a flash. I think he's managed to defend it so far, as long as he hasn't lost momentum through the next right-hander at Williams. There's just a light dab on the brake again. He cuts the corner big time, but gets himself a little bit of oversteer as a result.
Yeah, playing risky with his tyres there, because very easy to pick up a puncture. But of course, going back to Nash, he's now carrying 36 kilos of ballast, having finished second in the second race, so that's hampering him. We saw what effect it had on the Chevrolet, so don't expect too much from James Nash in this race.
No, and you have to say that Shen in this group, but not fighting forward, but he's still going okay, considering he's carrying a lot of ballast on his car, isn't he?
Yes, he is, but I mean, Matt Jackson will be very happy for it to finish now with all these cars between him and Shedden. That's a perfect championship situation.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that would probably be enough for him to take the lead, so let's see what happens. So plenty of time to go. We're only on lap 4 out of 12, about to be lap 5, as Matt Jackson will cross the line any second now, and it's Newsham from Paul O'Neill in the Go Mobile purple-coloured Chevrolet Cruze, chased by two very similar Chevrolet Cruzes, the Silverline cars of Jason Plato and Alex McDowell. Now, what's happened to Andrew? No, it's not Andrew Jordan we're looking at, I don't think. It is Jeff Smith, all right, his teammate, the other Pertec car.
Yeah, he just got a bit of a slide on turning around the left-hand part of Brundle, and decided discretion was a better part of valour and better off to straighten it out. Oh, Gillam still defending from Foster.
And this might allow Collard to get both of them if he can just judge this correctly, because he's behind the two there. And they're all just closing up on Tom Onslow Cole, I think, too. So I don't know whether Onslow Cole, I think he lost a bit of time just then. I think he might have kicked up the dust we saw a moment ago. So Onslow Cole has dropped himself into the clutches of Gillam and those two BMWs. Meanwhile, Newsham still fending off Paul O'Neill for the moment. How long can he do this? He might be new to touring cars, Dave Newsham, but the experience he gained in Clio's last year, particularly in other forms of racing, he's won at least one race in every form of racing he's done over the past few years. John George in trouble there.
Yeah,
sure.
looks like there was somebody else involved. He was running with Martin Byford up the inside of Smith, a recovering Smith.
Wow.
But no, too optimistic. That was never on.
Yeah, that was fairly dramatic the way it rode up over the other car, but may well be damaged. I don't know whether he's going to get much further. So Newsham still in second place in the yellow and black Seat, chased by Paul O'Neill and Jason Plato. But for Newsham, this is a new experience, being quite this far up and ahead of some of the real star names. The 44-year-old Newsham runs, he's the MD of a family company, but I tell you what, he is a good driver as well, and has really adapted quickly to this Seat, and he's fending off Paul O'Neill and Jason Plato at the moment.
Yeah, I've been very impressed with Dave's driving. He's very, very economical. He makes very few mistakes. He uses the maximum width of the road, and by not making any mistakes, he makes him a very hard man to pass. And that's the skill learnt in one-mate racing in Renault Clios, where you have to always keep your speed up. Any time lost. This is a replay now of Rob Austin coming through there, and now that was Andrew Jordan clipping those barriers, and that went with
O'Neill's done it. Yeah, he's having a second, and Plato I think might get him as well. It's that hairpin. You said he was struggling at the hairpin, and that's where he's lost the place. He's lost one, but not two. Not yet anyway. But he might run wide here. Plato will try and get the inside line down towards Agostini. Plato can't quite get there. Newsham's defending it, and I think, oh no, he's not going to try. Maybe
a little knock from Plato, just trying to push him wide. And I'm not sure if that's what happened at the first hairpin at Montreal with Paul O'Neill. Maybe there was a little contact. Nothing on the front of Paul O'Neill's car, so maybe Dave Newsham just locked up a little bit and went wide after I said he never made mistakes.
Well, the commentator's curse as ever. Meanwhile, Shedden is close in behind McDowell, isn't he? Look at that. You can see the Honda there. The back of that group is right in behind Alex McDowell now. Look. And McDowell's going to have to watch his mirrors as they come down the Bentley straight towards Brundle to try and keep him behind. This is all helping Matt Jackson, who's opened up his advantage to 1.8 seconds now, probably more in fact, as they head down the straight.
Yeah, and it doesn't really matter to Matt Jackson who's in second or third, as long as Shedden stays at further back in that group.
But look at Matt Neal here, Tim, because he's now caught the back of that group. He's behind Nash, so he's up to 8th place, and a real opportunity for him to get on terms with the Chevrolets as well, perhaps.
Yeah, well, if anybody can make progress through this group, it would have to be Matt Neal, because he's got no ballast on his car. So he's probably the fastest car on the track.
Yeah, good advantage for him if he can just get in that little bit closer. Also, his technique of going in tight to corners could well suit him on some of these overtaking opportunities.
Yeah, it means that he's used to the grip and knows how to feel what the car will feel like when he does go up the inside of cars into the hairpins, and he has caught Nash very quickly, as you said.
Yeah.
Watch him on the brakes here. If we stay on board, see how much he gains on the brakes into Montreal, because we'll see how strong the car is then on the brakes. Well, there's your answer. It's very strong. He closes right up, doesn't lose anything mid-corner or on the exit. So Matt Neal has a good race car under him and a good car for overtaking.
Yeah, little dab on the brake through the left-hander at Palmy. Late apex there, because otherwise you run out of road on the right-hand side, past the new spectator banking, where people are getting a fantastic view of this circuit. Down to the hairpin, another great spectating area, down into Agostini, not close enough, and in fact he's almost decided to try and cut back later to get the better exit.
Yeah, I think he actually ran on a bit further than he wanted to, and just made it look like he was doing it deliberately by cutting back, as you say, on the exit. But he could make progress, and this race is so reminiscent of all the other Matt Jackson sort of third race wins he's had. I'm not counting my chickens or cursing him now, but he makes a strike early on in the race and then establishes a gap which he can hold to the end. Oh, that was Shedden.
Yeah,
Shedden hit the plastic barriers. Will that slow him up?
Yeah, tricky. There was some sort of rubbish and dust on the track, and they all ran a little wide through there. It didn't help any of them, but I think Shedden's got away with.
Yes, he's got wing damage, and that could be questionable whether that becomes mechanical flag.
Matt Neal's gone past Nash behind. Matt Neal just gone past James Nash. So it's another place gained. But you're right. Look at that, dangling away that front wing.
Well, definitely that is something the Clarks may take a dim view of, and may put out the mechanical flag, the black flag with the orange spot on it, to see if he gets called in.
That would be pretty harsh. He is leading the championship coming into this race, remember, but now his teammate Matt Neal is his next opponent, because Matt has caught them all up over the course of the early stages of this race. Black and orange flag for number 78, that's for Chris James, not at the moment for Gordon Shedden, as he has that left front wing flapping away. Not going to help him in a straight line for speed either, is it?
No, it's not, but I mean, it doesn't seem to be getting any worse, and hopefully the Clark will take a view on that it's not getting any worse.
What's going on here? Newsham wide again. Plato
really struggling at that corner.
Yeah, really is. Bit of debris down there, which Plato was quick to avoid. He doesn't want to pick up a puncture by running over some debris that's been put on track. And this is the race for third position, remember, that we're looking at. Newsham still holding on to third. Paul O'Neill is in second place, remember. The race was still being led by Matt Jackson. McDowell sits behind his teammate in fifth. Shedden is in sixth. Matt Neal in seventh. And James Nash now down to 8th place. Onslow Cole is in 9th. Nick Foster is in 10th, past Tony Gillan, by the way. So there has been a change back there. Gillan back down to 11th. Rob Collard is 12th. Chilton 13th. Rob Austin currently 14th.
And Matt Jackson in the lead, Paul O'Neill in second, set identical lap times on the last lap. So 2 3/4 seconds the difference between first and second, but equal lap times. The reason the cars are running wide there now is because they've dragged so much dust onto the track through the corner. There isn't the grip, lateral grip, and that's what's affecting them. So they're making a rod for their own back, really.
That's right. Now, this is a moment ago. I think Rob Austin got past Tom Chilton, got down the inside. And there you go, fairly straightforward pass for him, and that's put him up into 12th place. No, it might even be, yeah, I think it's 12th place now. We'll check that when they come back. Matt Jackson, fastest lap a little while ago, but he's built that lead up to 2.7 seconds over Paul O'Neill. Newsham beginning to work quite hard at the steering now.
Yeah, there's a lot of effort going in there. This is the hard section where they're steering, braking, trying to control the car, but he always seems to get the car just nicely into that last left-hander and a good exit.
James Nash, meanwhile, catching Gordon Shedden a little bit at the back of the group as well, as that wing flaps away. It doesn't help his straight line speed. James Nash is getting a bit closer. What about Matt Neal? Is he closing on McDowell? I think he might just be a little bit.
Wow, look, you talk about working hard. Did you see the oversteer on as he turned in there? There was a lot of wheel action going on there through Riches, the fast corner, turn one.
Yeah, Nash in the background, just trying to line up Gordon Shedden as well. And Matt Neal's last lap, yeah, well, it was quite a lot quicker last time around than McDowell ahead of him. So he is catching, isn't he? Those Silverline Chevys ahead of him.
Yeah, almost a second quicker when he needs to be. So don't expect Matt to stop at this point.
No, as long as he doesn't get too much oversteer. But as you say, the back of the car now beginning to look a little less solid than it was in the early part of the race. Newsham still doing a fine job, still hoping to hold on to his first ever British Touring Car podium. That's a great view looking into the cockpit as he flicks the gear change up, turns it into the left-hander at Hamilton, keeps Jason Plato behind him for the moment, and that would be such a feather in his cap if he could beat the reigning champion and the man who's chasing hard to score the points to take another title this year. And the winningest driver, to use that expression, of course, Jason Plato. Newsham would love to stay in front of him.
Yeah, see on that onboard, on that frontal shot of Dave Newsham, he has his hands quite high on the wheel, almost at sort of 5-to-1 position, whereas most drivers tend to keep their hands almost at sort of 4-to-3, but seems to work for him anyway.
Yep, technique works well for him. And the Seat running very strongly at the moment in this race, and for this little team, what a tremendous opportunity this is for them. Tom Baldwin getting a podium earlier on this year. Whether they could back that up now with Dave Newsham, that would be quite something. You're on board with Matt Neal. This lap doesn't look as though it's been quite as good as the previous one, because he hasn't caught so much on this last lap, and maybe just suffering for grip a touch now.
Well, he would have taken quite a lot out of his tyres in this charge through, but I still think he should have far superior pace to the cars in front. We'll see as they come across the line now, and Plato McDowell come across the line at 2-minute 1.4, and in fact Neal was slightly slower on that lap, so you were right, he didn't close up at all.
Maybe he just lost a bit of ground somewhere. He's got to try and smooth it all out and get the grip back if he can. As you say, under braking he's pretty good. Typical Matt Neal line to go in tight, even though he's not trying to overtake. He loves those tight entry lines.
Yeah, shorter distance to travel, but he has the technique of just allowing the car to stop and turn before he fires it out, rather than going in on that line too fast and the car pushing out wide. Very, very individual style.
Yeah, and it works very effectively. So he's closing up on Alex McDowell. These guys all trying to get past Dave Newsham in the Seat. Black and orange for number 52. That is Shedden. Shedden has been given a black and orange. He does have to come in the pits and have that wing removed. That has a huge consequence in terms of championship points, and the championship leader there, who was leading coming into this race, will now have to make a pit stop.
Well, I'm surprised because it hasn't got any worse, and it doesn't really show any signs of detaching, but clearly the Clark feels it is a hazard out there potentially, and certainly you wouldn't want to be... Oh,
who was that? Somebody's gone short, somebody's gone across.
It's Shedden, and the wing's come off now anyway. The wing has come off anyway, so he might as well carry on, and they might withdraw the black and orange.
Well, do they? Oh, yeah, that's an interesting call. Do you stay out there now, or what?
No, he should definitely stay out there. There's no hazard there at all. The car, I mean, it's perfectly broken off. No hazard at all. I mean, yeah, they've taken it in. I've seen out of the commentary box, they've withdrawn the black and orange. So, I'd love to think that was deliberate by Shedden. I'd love to think that was deliberate.
Let's see. Yeah, no, I wonder.
No way could he have judged that. No way. I don't believe that he could have judged that, but I'd love to think it was, because it would be the most brilliant bit of driving we're likely to see all year.
Well, he let it run pretty wide early in the corner. I wonder if it was a deliberate thing. If he did, it was brilliant. But we will find out after the race. But he doesn't have to come in the pits. He's got rid of the offending wing, and he's continuing in 8th place. Well, how about that?
Unbelievable, unbelievable.
Tell you what, if he wins the championship by a few points, that'll be the moment of the year, won't it?
It will.
Look at this, Plato side by side with Newsham. Real chance here for Plato, but he just can't get in front before they turn in.
No, Newsham just has enough straight line speed to get to the entry of the corner side by side, and then of course Plato can't turn in. And Plato's being very patient here. But will McNeil be quite as patient?
Oh,
doesn't look like it. He's rattling the back of McDowell's car already.
Yeah, he is. McDowell, of course, acting as a bit of a buffer here for Plato, so Plato can attack Newsham without worrying too much about defending from his teammate. But McDowell has got the job of keeping McNeil behind him.
Yeah, I don't believe, in fairness, there are any team orders between McNeil and Plato. I think McDowell's just being respectful. If there's a chance, he'll go for it. But it's helping. Oh, I see Jason's taking that tight line now, the O'Neill line we'll call that. But I don't think it really helps, to be honest.
No, it doesn't seem to give them any kind of advance down the straight. So Newsham still holding on to 3rd. Remember, he's looking for his first ever podium. We are on lap 11 out of 12 now, and Newsham might be able to do it, you know. He's having to go more defensive, and now Plato's got the chance. Now Plato snatches the opportunity. He was so patient, as you say, Tim, but when the chance came, he was right there.
Absolutely, and it was right on a strong point for the Chevy. The Chevy very good through that corner and through the bomb hole. Well, there's the team watching on, anxiously hoping their man can bring it home. Oh,
McDowell and McNeil. Look at McNeil trying to get past. McDowell hops the curve. This will give McNeil a chance under acceleration to get him on the centre straight now. Up to the outside he comes. Now, this is going to be the drag race up towards where he's done it. He's surely done it yet, because McDowell's exit was compromised. So McNeil goes ahead in that position. He's now up into 5th place from the 9th row of the grid. From 17th, he's up to 5th.
Yeah, great drive. We expect it, and he will be trying very hard to get Newsham. Newsham is vulnerable into this hairpin. He's slowing the car down, taking a tight line, trying to hold it in so he doesn't get caught again. Neil has got bags of grip over the Seat Leon in front of him.
Yeah, damage on the front of McNeil's car, but doesn't seem to be slowing in. There's a bit wide there, Newsham. This is going to be one of the last chances, though, because we're on the last lap. So can McNeil catch Dave Newsham unaware? He's going to have a little look. No, not quite there, into Agostini, and he's got to watch out because he's allowed McDowell to get alongside. McDowell trying to get his place back now, but he can't quite do it there. Danger territory, that, for McNeil.
Yeah, it was danger territory, but McNeil had enough exit speed and turbo power to just pull ahead of the normally aspirated Chevy.
And Newsham again fighting the car a little bit on turn into Oggies. Back end of the car really moving around a lot now for Newsham. He is struggling to hang on to it. So McNeil might still have a final chance. Newsham runs a bit wide on the exit, but keeps his foot hard on the throttle.
Yeah, Newsham had 3 turn-in stabs at that corner. That's how iffy it is on the back end. McNeil's been forced to go round the outside. Will he brave it all the way around the outside? I think he will, and he may do it.
Round the outside, McNeil's done it. Fantastic fantastic manoeuvre from Matt Neal. That's why he's a former double champion. That's why he's fighting for the title this year. And Matt Neal's taken himself into 4th place. What a performance that into the first part of what was known as the S, is now known as Brundle and Nelson. And as they come around this lap, it is going to be Matt Jackson to take victory. Here is Matt Jackson. He's done it again in race 3 of the day. Jackson takes victory for Airwaves Ford. 2nd place goes to Paul O'Neill, a brilliant podium for him. 3rd goes to Jason Plato, but Newsham's lost more. It's Matt Neal who finishes in 4th place. Across the line, it's McDowell in 5th, Nash in 6th, Shedden in 7th, and poor Dave Newsham only 8th in the end. Oh, he had a podium within his grasp, but Newsham just had no grip on the back of the car in the last lap or two, and he's dropped to 8th place. Valiant effort, but it's Matt Jackson who has taken victory once again for the 4th time this year then. Matt Jackson has won the 3rd race of the day. He got fastest lap as well. And Paul O'Neill has taken 2nd place. What a great performance that is for Paul O'Neill. His best result of the season here at Snetterton, where he got his first podium in 6 years back in 2009. And
This was Newsham into the final corner. He'd been oversteering his way all the way through Corham, and he just couldn't stop the car. He was on the wrong line and desperately unlucky on the last lap.
Well, Shedden got that one more place, and how important will that be when the final tally is done at the end of the season as well. A fantastic final race. It had everything in it, all the elements that we love from British touring cars, and it's victory for Matt Jackson. This is another look. This was Matt Neal overtaking Newsham, and he had to do it around the outside into the left-hander here at Brundle. Now he got good line here. He was on the outside, and he braked late, he braked deep. Take some bravery here, because it's so easy to run out of road, but he got it turned into the right, and that was a lovely, lovely manoeuvre by Matt Neal, and that has earned him 4th position. And finally today has come better for Matt Neal. The first 2 races were disastrous. He failed to score in either one, but he has come back as a championship contender has to. He's come back to finish in 4th, but remember, Jason Plato was 3rd, and this guy, Matt Jackson, won the race. Now, looking at the points, it's going to be very, very close. I think Jackson will probably have just taken over the lead of the championship. We'll check that in a minute, but it's going to be so tight between them now. And Plato has also helped his cause by finishing in 3rd place. And Paul O'Neill with that superb 2nd, his best, as I say, result of the season so far. And for the Go Mobile UK guys, they will also be celebrating today at Snetterton. So the result then, it's Matt Jackson the winner by 3.3 seconds from Paul O'Neill. Jason Plato in a fighting 3rd. Matt Neal up to 4th from 17th on the grid. Alex McDowell 5th. James Nash had to settle for 6th place ahead of Gordon Shedden, but Dave Newsham losing out at the end there. Nick Foster finished in 9th, a good 9th place for him, and Rob Austin getting the Audi into the points in 10th. Tom Onslow-Cole 11th, Rob Collard in 12th, then Tom Chilton. Andrew Jordan out of luck today. Tony Gillam dropped back a little bit towards the end. Martin Byford in the VW was 16th. Jeff Smith, Lee Wood, Daniel Welsh and Chris James completed the top 20. So let's see what it means in terms of points. 158 now for Matt Jackson. He has taken the lead in the series with that win in the 3rd race of today. And who would have thought that? He is ahead of the 2 Honda Racing teammates. They're separated by 2. And Jason Plato is now 20 points off the championship lead. That is definitely achievable with 4 events still to go. So we do have a 4-way tussle for the lead in the championship here, no doubt about it. James Nash scoring well today in his attempts to close up the gap in the independence battle. But remember, Matt Jackson is an independent driver himself, so Matt will have scored some very useful points himself in the Independence Championship. Alex McDowell 7th, Collard, Chilton and Paul O'Neill up to 10th place there as a result of that 2nd place. In fact, he came into this meeting in 10th, so he's hung on to that spot with 54 points so far.